Welcome back to GunMan-Ballistic. Ever get that sinking feeling when buying a firearm, like you're stepping into a bureaucratic obstacle course designed by folks who would rather see the Second Amendment erased? The irony is, these same people keep chanting for more gun control while completely ignoring the fact that we already have roughly 20,000 firearms laws from coast to coast. If there's a more overregulated consumer product in America, I haven't found it. Crack open the federal history books and you'll see the big two, the 1968 Gun Control Act and the 1934 National Firearms Act, leading the charge. The GCA focuses on keeping guns out of the hands of convicted felons, while the NFA slaps heavy restrictions on machine guns, short-barreled shotguns, and other scary hardware. But the real kicker? If you've ever seen the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives 468-page summary of state and local gun laws, you'd notice that just a handful of our 50 states, Illinois, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, and yes, California, are responsible for nearly a third of that beast. California alone hogs almost 70 pages of microscopic legal print. With rules piling up like brass at a machine gun shoot, there's no way the average gun owner can keep track of them all. That's why we decided to do our fellow shooters a favor and spotlight 10 of the most ridiculous anti-gun laws in the nation. Knowing these is like giving both the anti-gun lobby and our pals at the ATF a well-deserved symbolic middle finger. So let's get into it. Number 1. Gun-free zones. Some people actually believe a criminal with bad intentions will see a gun-free zone sign and suddenly decide to abandon his plan because the sign told him so. After the tragic Tucson, Arizona shooting where 6 people were killed and Congresswoman Gabby Giffords was badly injured, Representative Peter King of New York thought it would be brilliant to create a 1,000-foot invisible gun ban bubble around every elected official in the country. I guess he figured that if such a bubble existed, the shooter, Jared Lee Luffner, would have magically been stopped in the grocery store parking lot. The problem? Unless someone hands me a deck of playing cards with all 535 members of Congress printed on them, there's no realistic way to know when I'm within 1,000 feet of one. Number 2. Concealed carry chaos. For years, Illinois and Wisconsin clung to their anti-carry stance like a drowning man to a life preserver, refusing to recognize the right to carry a firearm under your jacket. The rest of the country has a patchwork system. Some states like New York still may issue systems where local law enforcement gets to decide if you're worthy of a permit, often after months of delays and piles of paperwork. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got freedom-loving states like Alaska, Vermont, Arizona, and Wyoming, where you can carry without a permit. But California? Oh, they've got their own game where a valid concealed carry permit can still be blocked by local ordinances or ammo restrictions. With concealed carry laws changing at state lines, a well-meaning gun owner could break the law just by crossing into the wrong county. Number 3. No moving with your guns. Thinking about relocating to a new state with your firearm collection? Prepare for a migraine. Take New York, for example. Your grace period for owning a handgun there is exactly 0 days. That's right. The second you enter the state, your previously legal handgun instantly becomes contraband if you don't already have their permit in hand. So even if you were a lawful concealed carrier in your old state, you can suddenly become a criminal just for moving. Sometimes, moving means saying goodbye to perfectly legal firearms you've owned for years. Number 4. Antique and replica traps. Thinking of diving into the world of historic firearms collecting? Be careful, you might stumble into a legal minefield. Federal, State, and even city rules often clash, and the results can be absurd. For example, an original broom handle Mauser with its matching shoulder stock is perfectly fine to own, but clip that exact same stock onto one of the Chinese-made reproductions, and suddenly you are committing a felony unless you pay $200 for an ATF tax stamp, and that's only if your local and state governments say yes. It makes you wonder, does an authentic broom handle magically become safer than its twin just because it left the factory in Germany instead of China? Number 5. No ranges allowed. In places like Chicago and across the state of New Jersey, the verdict is in shooting ranges are treated like a public health hazard. Whether it's a professional indoor facility or just a safe setup on private property, it's flat out banned. Massachusetts adds a bizarre twist by outlawing targets that look too human. The irony here is painful. The best way to learn safe and responsible gun handling is through supervised range time. Yet in some of these places, the very act of practicing is treated as the problem. Number 6. Forbidden features and imported parts. If you enjoy working on sporting rifles, here's your warning stick to American-made components. In some jurisdictions, adding imported parts can cross the legal line. California goes even further, deciding that a pistol grip somehow transforms your rifle into something unfit for civilians, even though military rifles around the globe, including those used by our own armed forces, have had them for decades. And while you might legally own an AK pattern rifle, attach a detachable magazine and a pistol grip, and now you're in violation. The solutions are laughable devices like bullet buttons or mag locks or odd-shaped stocks like the Monster Man grip. These don't make the firearm less effective in reality. They simply make it less comfortable to use while giving anti-gun lawmakers a false sense of achievement. Number 7. The return of the assault weapons ban. The 1994 federal assault weapons ban was a textbook case of bad definitions meeting bad policy. It declared that a firearm with a detachable magazine and certain cosmetic features like a pistol grip, folding stock, or muzzle brake was an assault weapon. The problem? Depending on the state, that definition could apply to nearly anything, even black powder muzzleloaders with a bayonet. Fast forward to today, and politicians like Rhode Island Representative David Cicilline are pushing H.R. 1808, a bill that revives and expands the ban. Passed narrowly in the House in July of 2022, it targets a massive list of firearms for prohibition manufacture, sale, transfer, import, and even possession in some cases. The wording is so broad that simply owning a firearm with a Picatinny rail could get you in trouble if you attach a forward grip. Essentially, if it's modern and interesting, this bill wants it gone. Number 8. Gun buying rations. In Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, and California, the law treats firearm purchases like a subscription plan, one per month, maximum. The supposed goal is to slow down illegal gun trafficking, as if hardened criminals are pausing to read the fine print before buying in bulk. In reality, this rule only inconveniences law-abiding citizens who want to grow their collection on their own terms. And in today's economy, with inflation chewing through everyone's budget, the idea that the average Second Amendment supporter is picking up 12 guns a year is almost laughable. Number 9. The micro-stamping mirage. California has never been shy about flexing its creativity when it comes to Second Amendment restrictions, and Senate Bill 452 is the latest masterpiece. Slated to take effect in 2027, this law will block the sale of any new handgun that doesn't meet an already ridiculous list of state requirements, now including microstamping. If you have never heard of it, microstamping means engraving a microscopic code on a gun's firing pin. so that when the firearm discharges, this code gets stamped onto the spent casing. In theory, police can pick up that casing and instantly trace it back to a specific gun, just like a futuristic crime drama. The problem? Ballistics testing already allows investigators to match bullets and casings to specific firearms, and it does not require everyone to buy into an unproven, expensive technology. Major gun makers, including Smith and Wesson, have called the idea pointless, noting that the microscopic marks wear down after only a few hundred rounds. Plus, for microstamping to work as advertised, every single gun would have to be registered, turning the whole process into a privacy nightmare. In real-world tests, it has proven unreliable, impractical, and exactly the kind of political solution that solves nothing. Number 10. Instant background checks and the waiting game. When the Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act passed in 1993, it paved the way for the National Instant Criminal Background Check System, which went live in 1998. In theory, NICS lets licensed dealers check a buyer's eligibility almost instantly. The system can handle roughly 150 transactions every single minute, and most approvals come back in less than 2 minutes. So why is it on this list? Because in 12 states plus the District of Columbia, even after NICS says you are good to go, you are still forced to wait anywhere from 24 hours to a full 2 weeks before you can actually pick up your purchase. The name may promise instant, but in these states, the reality is we will get back to you when we feel like it. For law-abiding gun owners, it is not about safety, it is just another layer of pointless red tape.